What's good, y'all? Back with another video, back with another vlog video. Real quick, I just wanted to get into something that sticks out to me. Politics slash gossip and entertainment. Now, when it comes to entertainment, we all know the nature of what that is. We all know the nature of that. With entertainment, it's meant to be, first and foremost, a form of escapism from the real world. A form of reflecting on the real world. That's the second thing. And the third thing, what's our own interpretation of that world that's presented to us? And it could be any form of entertainment whatsoever. It could be movies, it could be TV, it could be music. It could be everything that we see online. Politics slash gossip and entertainment, that's the thing that I wanted to get into with that. Because I feel like in this day and age when we're exposing people, accusing people, and in hopes of progression for something better in this life, in this lifetime, something better to come out of all of this. It's something that I'm also cautious about. And I brought this up before, but this is a little bit of an elaboration on it. Politics and gossip and entertainment, it pretty much justifies our way of thinking, or it gets in the way. It either justifies or gets in the way from seeing the whole story, from seeing the bigger picture. Or it's something that we've also come to a realization about, which is pretty much saying, yes, we picked up on that. We've had knowledge on that. But before we go on and judge any situation that goes down, we got to look at the information. That's the thing these days, because the information that's given to us, you never know it's real until you have actual tangent proof that what's being thrown at us is the real deal. Because there have been plenty of times when the media itself can throw us for a loop and have us go on an outrage thinking one thing when really it's a whole nother story. Instead, we're given headlines that people are eager to talk about instead of looking deeper into the story itself. We're hell-bent focusing on the headlines. So the whole thing about politics and gossip and entertainment, does that affect everything we watch and listen to? It could, if it means that we've been fed false information. If it means that there are people who are willing to take it to such extremes to get attention off of it. Because this whole thing is supposed to be about progression, representation, inclusion, justice. It's supposed to be about all of that. Due to this divide that we're dealing with, not just in this country, but all over the world, it's frustrating to me to know that this is going to be the case, because there are times in entertainment, you just want to be entertained, right? I got that same process going for me, thought process, I mean. I got that same thought process going for me. Sometimes I just want to be entertained. I would rather leave the politics at the door. You know? If I was going in to watch a superhero movie, for that matter, right? Perfect example. If I were to go in and watch a superhero movie, I'd rather leave the politics at the door and just look at the movie for what it is and what my enjoyment of that movie is. That's it. That's all I care about. Now, the whole thing about that aspect, what comes into play for this whole thing, it's the approach. That's the most important thing. It's the approach on how these matters are being discussed, because there could be times that even for blockbuster movies, even for music that speaks on these situations, for anything along the lines of that, for entertainment, even everything that we see online, it's about the approach. It's about the approach of how we bring up these scenarios. It's the approach of how we talk about these matters. The way we say it. The way we present it. The way we want to carry ourselves going forward in terms of that. And like I said before, I'm all about that progression because I get where it's coming from. But that's the thing. It's at the forefront. What about around it? What is it that's surrounding these topics? What is it that's being said from within? Because you never know when people can take it to such extremes to the point where it's like, you can't trust this. Is it really as effective as they're trying to present it to be? That's the question that keeps popping into my head. Because as much as I want to see that, there's always going to be people who are quick to react. There's always going to be people who feel the need to have this cancel culture going on right now. And it's like, damn, really? As if we didn't have enough of this already. Now it's become a much bigger thing than it had to be. Therefore, it messes with the process of thinking of how we perceive people, especially when there are things that are dug up from the past. Do we cancel them or do we accept them? At the end of the day, for me, as an individual, how I decide on how I feel about a person, even though I don't know them personally, that's up to me. That's up to me to decide. Just like for y'all, as individuals, y'all got y'all choices to make. Y'all got y'all decisions to make. It's up to y'all on how y'all feel. Especially with all the stories that's coming out recently, everything involving R. Kelly and Jussie Smollett, even with stories like those that are coming out right now, even with all of that, and recently as well, speaking of superhero movies, James Gunn coming back to do the Guardians of the Galaxy movies again, to do the third one, to be exact. Some YouTube videos I saw was saying, is the information real or is it fake? For that to take place, for that scenario to take place. How is it that all of a sudden James Gunn is back with them? You know, it's always the thing that when it comes to these scenarios, when it comes to these situations, it affects entertainment as we know it. Why? Because with that in the picture, that's going to be in the back of our minds going into these things, when really we shouldn't have to worry about these things when we watching, when we listening. But it's a matter of approach. Because if it's going to be brought up, if it's going to be discussed, if it's going to be talked about, it's the approach. Either it's subtle or it's being force-fed. I just feel like that if you're going to bring up topics like that, it's got to be in such a way that when you talk about it, you are coming at it from your perspective of it, shining a light on it, acknowledging it, but it doesn't get to the point of where you're doing the most. You're doing too much. How you feel is how you feel at the end of the day, right? How you feel is how you feel. And of course, you're going to deal with people who feel the need to speak on outrage, whether you're with something or against something. You're with someone or against someone. Or you're trying to find a reasonable way of thinking about the topic at hand. It could be a mixed bag of reactions to it. Like, never fails. All I gotta say is, before you judge, before you make your decision on how you feel about something, because that's something I had to learn as well. There's something I had to learn for myself as well. Look at all the info that's being thrown at you. And really pay attention to the details that you could tell if it's fabricated or it's real. Because these days, we need proof. We need proof that if anything that's being said, talked about, is true. We can't trust anything these days. We can't trust anyone based on what they say. We need proof. We need tangible evidence as to why this is being brought up. So, having that to be involved with entertainment itself, yeah, that could be troublesome at times, because then it's like, you got to go PC with everything. In certain areas, yeah, that's bound to happen. But other times, it's like, why? Why is that? We don't need this. But for me, though, the way I see it, like I said, entertainment is entertainment regardless of all of this. Sometimes I'd rather leave the politics at the door, the gossip at the door, or out the door, I should say. Because I don't want to focus on that at the moment. I don't. The only thing I'm focused on is what I'm listening to and what I'm watching. And at the end of the day, for my enjoyment of it, did I like it or did I not? That's all I care about. That's it. Like I said, I'm not big on politics like that, but there are certain things that stand out to me. And even with my content, my material, within my work that I'm planning on getting out there, I bring this up as well. I make sure to do that so that y'all could get a better understanding of where my thought process is for all of this. That, yeah, there's going to be things like this that pops up, and I want to speak on those things. It's not the only thing I think about, but it's one of those things that I think about. You know, it's that feeling that I want to get it off my chest and get it over with, instead of just holding it in, because if I got something to say, I want to be able to say something on that as well, you know? So, like I said, for me and for y'all, as individuals, entertainment is entertainment. Whether you like it or not, that should be the only thing that's on your mind at the moment. Oh, and recently the whole thing with the Cardi B situation as well. That whole thing of the double standard, that is one thing for a guy to be accused of that, to be exposed for that, or even admit to that. But with Cardi B, it's like, really? Why ain't nobody bagging on her with this whole thing? Isn't that the double standard of it all? How is it that it's the guys that gets all the exposure for this, but the women don't really get that much of it when they could also be the ones that do the same thing? Right? There's always going to be something like that to pop up on the news, right? It's a hell of a thing to think about. That's the dilemma of it all. The way I see it, the only thing I care about is making sure that I have the information necessary to make my judgment, my decision on how I feel about it. And the way I feel about it, about any of these things in this case, is like, I don't know if it's really true like that. I want to make sure to look at more information to see if it is. Make sure there's actually proof, evidence as to why this is being talked about. Or, in this case, like, wow, really? So you really are clout chasing right now. And I don't like that word, but it's true. It's true. Like, really? This is what you about? I thought you was one way, but it turns out you turned out to be like this. It's those kinds of things where it's like, come on, really? How much more of this are we gonna get? But like I said, you know, if I'm going in for the entertainment at the moment, the politics are at the door. They're out the door. My only focus is what I'm paying attention to right in front of me. Alright? Once I've done that, then I'll worry about it later. By the looks of it, that's just how I see it. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let me know. And once again, be civilized about it, please. Be honest. Be honest about it. Be honest about this. Alright? And I don't want nobody to be going off on a rage war, especially when it comes to social media, because it's easily the thing to do these days. That everybody gonna have a rage war on social media, whether they're with something or they're not with something. they're with someone or they're not with someone. And the whole cancel culture of it all, the alt-rights and the trolls and all of that nonsense. It's ridiculous, man. Entertainment overall is not for everybody. If it's something specific, that is. It may not be for everybody. You don't always have to bring politics into it. You don't always have to bring gossip into it. All of that is just a way for those stories to circulate. Let the headlines be the reason as to why people would have outrage about these things, especially when it's feeding us false information. We got to be careful with that. The more we feel like we're ready to rage out on something, the more it seems like we're ignorant to the actual story at hand. And on top of that, speaking of politics, when it comes to the government, they're scrambling. They're scrambling. I just wanted to say that real quick. They're scrambling. They are scrambling to make ends meet. It's like at this point, we can't even trust the government for anything. That's how I look at it. That's how I'm looking at them right now. We can't trust the government for anything. Are they for us or against us? That's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's been coming down to. Are they for us or against us? The whole Democrat and Republican nonsense. President, vice president, senators. Jeez. We just can't trust them for anything right now. They are scrambling to make ends meet just so they can please the people. Stop trying to please and give us a reason to believe that there is progress to be made. Even with all the setbacks that'll come with it. Where's the progress? That's what I'm asking. That's what we all should be asking. That's what I'm paying attention to. Where's the progress? I'm all for it, but I'm cautious about it too. I gotta be honest about it. That's how I feel, right? That's me. That's just me. But like I said, let me know what y'all think. And be civilized about it too, alright? With that being said, I know this video is a bit dark, as you're seeing me right now, because it's about to get dark right now. It's already after 6. It's getting dark already, but I said what I had to say. You heard my thoughts, so what's yours? That's the question I'm going to pass off to y'all. What's yours? What's your thought process on this whole thing? With that said, this is Blue Flames the Poet, and I'm out.